Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Buy Box Live. We are live in the place to be, looking to make some calls and do some things that we do. I know it's Friday night for some people, it's Friday in the midday for others. So, all good. Let's figure out some things to do. Pulling up my tools, Zillow, thewholesaleatlas.com. Maybe check out the Atlas as well. Let's see, what's the deal? Let's go to post a deal. Nope, not the one I want. Take a look. Chat. Any chats? No chats. Sent out these messages a while ago. No results. Let's go back to my listings. Let's go back to my feed. Are we in the feed or where are we at? Where are we at? All right, looking for some properties to buy. Potentially from wholesalers. So let's take a look. I'm going to do some filtering here. I want PITI has to be pretty low. Why is that? Because I need room to make some money. It doesn't make a lot of sense for me to, I think that's really the big thing, for me to be paying somebody $2,000 a month for any reason, whether it's going to a mortgage or Sellify or something that just doesn't really make sense. So I'm looking for all creative deals. 45 on the list. We got our list view. Take a quick look at these. I don't need the, I guess the location is not too bad, but I think I already looked at this one. Balance left. Doesn't look too bad. Did I look at this already? Montgomery, Alabama. Nothing seems to work for me in Alabama. I don't know why, but this looks like a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Hybrid deal with low entry. Purchase price, okay. Down payment, manageable. It looks like it's been flipped, or fixed, I should say. They're trying to flip it now, so. 32 Montgomery, Alabama. Okay, yeah, interested. Right. Okay. All right. It's done. I really like the Atlas. I go in there, I find deals potentially that I'm interested in. This down payment's kind of high, 30K. Getting up there. I want to buy a lot more properties with a lot less. This one is in Arkansas, 20K. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad at all. 20K, 20K, 20K. Telling you, I'm getting a little bit too giddy about these properties that I'm looking at. Yeah, yeah, all that is good. So double check. Rosemary Street. All right, let's go ahead and figure out where exactly that is. Outskirts of town. It's a pretty small town. Okay, okay. Wow, that is way down there. But it's not too far from Philly. Jonesboro, according to this. This little Philly area, Memphis, Tennessee. I say Philly, but I was really talking about this 141 to Philadelphia. So it is pretty far from Philadelphia, but that 141 is curious to me. Not sure where that goes. Why does it say Philly? It's pretty far from Pennsylvania, way far from Pennsylvania. But I'm trying to figure out, I did see Philly on here. I'm trying to figure out what that means. 141, Philly. Okay, but out of Jonesboro, which looks like the bigger town, yep, I don't think this is going to work for me. That's pretty far out to everything. And it's on the outskirts, you know? So that's going to make it very challenging. Well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well do the same with this one. This is in, well, yeah, this is in Montgomery, so that's one of the bigger cities there. So that should work. That should work. So what am I doing? I'm sort of today on today's buy box. We do a lot of different things. We do a lot of different things on Buy Box Live, and I'm starting out with looking at potentially looking at properties I want to buy. So using the Atlas, very easy, right? You go to theatlas.com and you find creative deals. They've already done the legwork of finding. Yeah, this is pretty much in the middle of the city. It's pretty good. So yeah, you find creative deals, which is what I love to do. Don't really want to spend $100,000 on a single property. Rather spend 10 or 20K on multiple properties. So what is up, Ali? How you doing?
Hey Clinton, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Doing well, thanks.
Yeah, appreciate you bringing me up and kind of going through your process of finding deals. Um, I'm kind of new to the wholesale list. I got my membership maybe like a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Um, so one thing I was kind of wondering is like, as far as the Atlas goes, like this part that you're on,
Yep.
do you go here to also find deals, or do you get them from the wholesale Atlas and then move on to the Atlas? I'm just trying to understand the process and the difference.
Yeah, no problem. So these two tools are different. The wholesaleatlas.com, I already have some deals or leads, I should say, in here in my dashboard when I brought that up. But I will talk first about the atlas.com. This actually came second. The wholesale atlas came first, but the atlas.com is a creative, generally speaking, creative marketplace. Totally free. You can sign up, and whether, like in my case, I'm a buyer, so when I come in here, I go and I look for properties I could potentially buy. Okay, and so
Okay.
I look to see are they in my buy box. My buy box is pretty much anywhere in the U.S., but I need the properties to cost me less than I'd say less than 10,000 to get into, whether it's subject to or sellify. Some people have buy boxes where they're like, hey, I like to do renovations in a particular location of the country, and so they might have a cash, you know, fix and flip kind of buy box. I don't do fix and flips, so my buy box is this. So pretty much my first thing is I come in here, I look for properties that are low down payment, and then I see, hey, is it in a good location that I might want to buy it? Does it cost me too much? Does it need a lot of renovations? Those types of things. So I review that. So that's basically my approach. Um, and there's a ton of deals in here, a lot, but you know, this is just one page.
So,
I filtered it, and then I was, pretty much done with what I needed. Go ahead.
got it. So when you're in here, and I saw that you filtered for creative, and then you did max 1,000. I think a month, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And then these are already deals that are under contract.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you would just either JV with the person who has it under contract, or buy it yourself. Is that correct?
Yes. So if I'm looking at a property, like I just looked at, which one did I look at? I think it was this one. It was the one in Arkansas. That was this one here, right? So for me, when I look at a property, I look at the numbers. I'm a numbers guy. I really like the numbers. I look at the numbers. I'm like, okay, these numbers actually work. I like it. And now I start digging a little bit deeper. Well, tell me about the location. Okay. Now,
Right.
for me, this location is going to be challenging because it's probably a small community. So it means if I'm going to get renters in there, I don't have too many renters to choose from, right? And because it's
You're right.
small, if I try to do co-living, co-living is very, very difficult in a location that's far from the middle of the city. Okay, so those are two things that I would do if I was to buy this property. So now I looked at this property. I saw that the pictures seem fine. It doesn't look like it needs a lot of renovations. So this particular person, I'm not going to do it today, but with them, I might say, hey, I know this has been on here. You've listed it. You don't really have any buyers. I might have a buyer or two who might be interested in this property, in which case I might JV with this person, right?
Got it. Okay.
So I might joint
Yeah.
venture. Otherwise, they might not get it sold at all. Maybe they just don't have enough people looking at it. They don't have any particular buyers who are like me who are going through this on a regular basis looking for properties and then want to buy, or maybe they have the same issue where other buyers have come across it and said the same thing. Oh, it's pretty far from the population. It's going to be difficult and walked away. But there might be someone who's very interested. There might be someone who's like a retail buyer that I might know, in the general location, and then I can team up with them. The alternative is a property, let's say this one, that said entry fee was 4,000, and I was like, yes, yes, 4,000. It turns out that that number was wrong. They put it in here incorrectly because the down payment was 4,000, and then the wholesaler wanted to get some money after that. So in here, when I looked at it, I looked at the property description and the entry fee, here is where it listed the entry fee. So it's actually a whole lot more than what it was listed for. Okay. But the PICI, this one, I looked at it, I was like, yeah, this looks like a property I could buy. I dug deeper. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna buy this. Think I'm buy. Before I was done, I was like, yeah. So literally, this one I'm under contract to buy. Should be closing this week, for example.
And you find that yourself?
Yes, potentially myself and a team, or just me. We'll see. Um, so that's generally speaking how I do it. Both, as a potential wholesaler. That's just how I use this particular tool, right? Either as a wholesaler or as a buyer.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, in terms of the wholesaleatlas.com, I use that completely differently. This one, I go in here to look for leads. So I might go into lead gen, or if I already have a property I'm already looking at, let's say I'm on Zillow. In fact, I'll do it right now. Go on Zillow. I want to put in Hawaii. I really like Hawaii right now because I go live at the end of the regular day here in the central part of the U.S. Spell it correctly, please. Just HI. Just HI. Just be done. Stop trying to spell HAWAII. Just HI.
Yeah.
Okay. So I start with Hawaii, and then I'm like, okay, cool. Like Hawaii. I'm gonna go to Maui. I really like Maui. And so now I'm gonna check for properties for sale. And what was I looking for in here? I think I was looking for just land. And up to 1.5 million land. Okay. Remove boundary, I gotta do it again and draw it. Okay, so pretty much here. Any land, I guess I'll just do the whole island, why not? Apply. Okay, cool. So I see some land here and there and everywhere. Okay, so I got this one, for example. Now, you know what? It's land, so it's probably not going to come up. So let me be a little bit more specific let me be a little bit more specific. I'm going to look for houses as well. Zillow. Like I said, I just use different tools. So now in this one, I might say, okay, cool. I like what I'm looking at. I like this particular property. Now let me go and do some research on it. Some people might use Batch Leads, or which was actually bought out recently by, oops, this is the wrong one, bought out by PropStream. So, they might use PropStream as well. So here I'm going to say, hey, I'm looking for this property in Hawaii. Do you have it? Yeah, it's on market. They should have it. So now I'll bring up the wholesale atlas. I'm just using a search and I'm pulling this up because I already had the address, right? I had the address. I'm like, I like this property. Now let me go and do some underwriting. Okay. So then I'm going to pull this up and do some underwriting. It says listed one day. Is that really true? What? Brand new property. Look at that. Brand new listing. Love that. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so this is gonna be challenging because it's a one bedroom, one bath, right? So this is basically I'm
Right.
just going through my protocol here. Because of the number of bedrooms, it's gonna be challenging. It's a $500,000 property though in Hawaii, and it's been listed today. So they're not gonna be interested probably in listening to anything I have to say because I don't want to buy this property for cash. As I said, my buy box is under 20,000, so down payment maybe 25K. Hey, can I give you a down payment of 25K so that and let's see, this is going to be sellified because they don't have a mortgage, they don't have a loan, according to this, you know, according to the wholesale atlas. People use PropStream as well to figure out if someone has a loan on it. But this has no loan, so I'm like, hey, can I put down 25K on this property and give you, let's say, $1,000 a month so that I can also get 1,000, which means annually I should get about 14,000. I would pay for closing costs and I would have cash and cash of over 40%, which is awesome. Now, if they
Right.
accept that, that'd be awesome, right? And I have zero for assignment because I'm the one buying it typically. But if it turns out, like I said, that okay, I don't want to, you know, for whatever reason, I don't want to buy it, I'm like, okay, well, I could still potentially wholesale this property, maybe at assignment of 10K, maybe five, whatever that number is, and that buyer would be getting a really good cash flow. If, or yeah, really good cash on cash if I was able to get the seller to accept these terms. Okay.
Right.
Now,
And then on the Zillow side, sorry, what did you put for your search filters? Was there anything specific, um, or was it just any like single family property?
yeah, I like to do single family. Multifamily tends to be challenging. Not necessarily for everybody, but for me it is because a lot of people leverage loans, lenders, whether they're private or not, to help them buy multifamily properties, or they use somebody else's proof of funds to get really good deals on Sellify. Um, me, I like to be very authentic. I don't use lenders, and so
Uh,
I use my own cash or cash that the businesses that I represent have. And as a consequence, we're using our own cash, so it's like, okay, I need those prices to be a whole lot, whatever amount of money we pay as the total entry cost, that needs to be a whole lot less. So that's the reason for right now we don't focus on multifamily at all. Maybe in a few years, we'll have multi-million dollars to throw around, our own multi-million dollars to throw around on different properties. So
right.
yeah, I do sellify. I do single family, right? SFH, single family homes, generally speaking. And then I'm also potentially looking at land. So I typically, well, most recently, if you go back to some of my lives, I am live right now in buyboxlive.com, which if you go there, it points you to to Google, YouTube, I should say. So it looks like that's working fine. So yeah, if you go to buyboxlive.com and go to my YouTube videos, you'll see in the past I wasn't doing land, but as of last week, I'm looking at land as well.
Okay.
Cool, cool, cool. All right, so yeah,
Got it.
basically it's hey, I'm looking for properties. Uh, any other place, if it's a single family home and the cost of it is more than 500,000, it can be very challenging. Any place else, but Hawaii, as you saw, that was a one bed, one bath property
Yeah.
listed for $500,000. So you can't really, those prices are pretty high over there.
Is there a big market for investors in Hawaii?
Um, I guess you're asking for people buying, investors buying property in Hawaii.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, are a lot of people, are a lot of investors in Hawaii, or they're looking in Hawaii, or is it just anything that's a good deal?
I would say it's anything that's a good deal. And the reason I will say that is because Like I said, I'm a buyer, so I'm the one looking to buy these properties. So I can't really speak for what other people are doing because I don't pay
Right.
too much attention to what other people are doing. You know. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm looking at the reason I'm looking at it is, and based on my numbers, the properties there seem to appreciate over a few years or whatever. They just become more expensive. Just obviously the land is very limited. Yes, more land is being created every day with the active volcanoes, but it's going to be a while before the volcanoes in those areas cool down, and then that land becomes available. So for now, you have no imagery here. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, but yeah, for now, it seems the properties are appreciating. So if I am able to buy a property with good terms, then you know I can turn around and sell it eventually, and hopefully make a profit. At the same time, I also like to joint venture with the seller, which is basically if they've already got a mortgage on it, then to go ahead and do a subject to kind of deal.
Right.
So pull this up. So this is an example that is very frequently on my lives, where I talk about what a subject to situation is. Right? They've got a property, they do want to sell it, and they are going to come out of pocket to sell it. So we can do that, and then I basically do what other people will do as a subject to kind of deal. I would just joint venture. So I think that's pull up the next one. Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? That's my map one. Shared equity plan. That's the one I was talking about. So in the meantime, you know what? I'll just keep that up. And I'll remove this one. And I need to move that from my list because it's going to annoy me to no end if I pull that up again accidentally. Okay. So yeah, I created this thing called the shared equity plan for people who, if you are a wholesaler, like you said, potentially you yourself, if you go through and find a great deal and you want to become a buyer, um, instead of just getting cash up front, then I'd love to partner with you and help you, get part of this property that I'm buying, right? I'm going to be the buyer potentially, and you could get
Right.
equity as part of it. So the shared equity plan is an example where the owner, in a typical subject to situation, they get money up front and they walk away, and whatever, you don't hear from them, etc. Right? Okay, but I'd much prefer to joint venture with them so that that equity, that limited equity that they have, they actually get some money out of it, later on when I sell. Same thing with the agent. I'd love to partner with them as well, and the wholesaler. Now, all of these folks can get cash up front. Yeah, I mean, you want cash up front, fine. That's, it's going to suck for me, which, because now I have to pay more. But at the same time, so that talks about the exit. At the same time, if you're getting cash up front, it means that later on, I don't have to give you that cash. So that stays in my pockets, right? The folks who teamed up to purchase this property. So I call it the shared equity plan. And me and myself and other people who would buy this property with me will put in cash. The wholesaler doesn't have to put anything in; they just have to bring me an awesome deal. The agent as well could potentially get equity, and the owner could also get equity instead of just walking away with, saving $1,000 or just making $1,000. Again, this is just an example. But yeah, that's
Right.
that's typically where we go. Typically where we go. I guess the other thing I was going to mention for the wholesale atlas is, we could also use lead gen. And on the lead gen, I can basically say the same kind of thing. I'm looking in Hawaii, HI. Take a look at that. It's going to go on market, find all the properties that are listed, and see if it can come up with some really good deals for me. This is lead gen, so it's hopefully going to load up soon. It does take a while because this is pulling a lot of data. And then I can do the same thing with the wholesale atlas, with the atlas mode. Other questions?
No, I mean, I think that's all for now. I just gotta, figure my way out around the wholesale list and just kind of get comfortable with it, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, this was definitely helpful. I guess my only other question was in terms of, so this is something I was kind of wondering. So let's just say there's a seller finance deal, right? And we get in contract with the seller, and then we sell it to a buyer. After that point, is that contract just between the seller and the buyer? And is the house still is the deed just at what are those called? Where's the deed held? I guess that's my question.
Okay. Good question. So generally speaking, what happens, let me pull up my trusty pad here. Okay, this is going to be my pad. Where's my pad? QuickTextPad.com. This is not true. There we have it. This website we have added. Yeah, this website is very secure. I'm going to have to look at that because this is definitely behind the certificate, unless the certificate is being updated as we speak. This website, actually, the domain name was just renewed, so maybe that's what's going on. They're renewing the certificate or something associated with it. All right, so this was a buy box. All right, so let's take a look. You're basically saying you've got a buyer, you've got a wholesaler, you've got title, and you've got a seller. This actually goes that direction, right? There's the wholesaler, so wholesaler involved, there's title involved, and then there's a seller involved. Okay? Is that a good place to start? Is there anything else you think is involved other than the buyer, wholesaler, and title company and seller? Okay, let's see if I can. What's up, Gary? All right, so basically what happens is the wholesaler gets involved, they get a property under contract, they work with the seller first, right? The wholesaler talks to the seller and potentially gets a really good deal. And the outcome of that is a contract. Contract says, hey, I'm the wholesaler, I'm going to buy this property. In this case, you. Ali is going to buy this property. And yes, you're going to buy this property until or unless you can replace yourself with the actual end buyer. Okay? Now, typically, and this, others will tell you the same thing, right? This contract basically says, I'll make a note. I have 10 days to inspect this property. 10 days inspection or due diligence to review everything, all the details, whether if it's a subject to kind of situation or trust acquisition, which is basically replacement for subject to, then there's a mortgage involved. You want to make sure the mortgage is legit. The company that has the mortgage is legit. The prices, all this stuff. If they've got arrears that they haven't paid the mortgage, okay, well, how much is it really? You want to take a look at the actual mortgage statements, all that stuff, right? So it's not just an inspection period. It's also a due diligence period. You want to, do some research. Is the area full with crime? Like the last 2 properties I looked at. I was like, yeah, let's go. It looks like a good deal. The numbers work. And then I checked the crime. I was like, whoa, yeah, I think it's a no. All right. So generally speaking,
how did you verify? I guess.
How did
you do that part, or do you have the seller kind of?
No.
Sorry, the buyer.
The buyer. No, I checked myself. Remember I said I work, the way I work is I look for properties that I want to buy. I want to buy, I'm always going to be the buy, I'm the buy, I'm the buy. And then at some point, I'm like, I'm not going to be the buyer on this one. And then I look for a seller to, I look for a different buyer to wholesale it to. But at the same time, if I go through that process and I realize, hey, I'm looking for a turnkey property and this is a complete gut job, the whole thing is screwed up, and I know there's no way to actually do a seller financing on this, it needs to be a fix and flip. Well, if that's the case, then the only way in that case, I know I'm not going to buy it because I don't want to do fix and flips. The only way I would wholesale it is, if I know, or I could potentially find someone who wants to do fix and flip, and the cost would be, I'd have to make sure that when they get it, they're going to make some money after they've renovated and all of that stuff. So I need to do additional work for somebody else to buy it. Now, for me, when I see a situation like that, and I know, well, I thought this was going to be a seller fi, so I'm not going to try to find an end buyer and pawn them off a seller fi when I know that that's a fix and flip. Okay. So that's just by example. So I'm going to finish this statement and then I'm going to answer your other question, which is how I verify. So I've got the 10-day inspection, and then typically you want to do, hey, I'm going to pay you, $1,500 towards the, or $1,000 or something, towards the purchase of it. This is going to be my earnest money deposit, EMD, and then most wholesalers will pay this after the inspection. Okay. The reason they do that is so that you're not really, let's say you go on the contract on 5 deals, you're not spending $1,000 per deal when you're hoping at some point, oh, well, after the inspection or in the middle of the inspection, I realized that I'm not actually going to buy that. All of a sudden now you have to flip and try to get your money back, which they're supposed to send it, but that could take a while. So you're like, hey, let me do the inspection, and then afterwards, if everything looks good, I'll send the EMT and we'll go towards closing. And then closing typically is 30 days, typically. Okay, so that's the thing you want to do there. Now, the other thing I do is I take a look at the property. Let's see, I do have it here. You can use different websites. Basically, what they do is they report what the crime rate is in a particular location. And this one is, let's go with St. Louis. Okay, I'm in St. Louis. Wait, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so I'm in the middle of St. Louis, Missouri, right? Perfect. So I want to go a little bit closer here. So right now I'm looking in St. Louis because I'm buying a property there, and I'm looking for other properties to buy in the general vicinity. Okay, so I go to St. Louis. I'm like, hey, let's take a look at the crime. Now this is just spotcrime.com. Okay. Oops.
Okay.
Google Vignette. What's that all about? Make sure that this is going to come up. Okay. Not necessarily what I'm looking for. Close this. Second is stream edit. Okay, so now I'm in Spot Crime, and I can just click search this area and have it tell me, I'm looking at this particular property, this location. I'm trying to find my property is located here, for example. I search this area. How does that look? Okay, not too bad. Bunch of petty crime, petty theft, suspicious. Oops, that's a burglary. Somebody got arrested. Okay, not bad. Okay, let's zoom out. What else? Tell me some more about this location. Let's search here. What do we have? Whoa, well, what? This is literally the last one I was looking at. Right,
Oh, okay.
right around here. Like, okay, I can go ahead and buy this property, and I was like, oh, shooting, burglary, shooting, theft, shooting, assault. Somebody got beat up. Okay, suspicious person, something crazy going on. Not really sure, but shooting. Okay, cool. That man, I don't. That it's going to be very challenging. I don't want to be in a situation where I have renters and they've got shooting going on all around them. Now, the other thing we can do on this particular site is then say, okay, well, tell me about this one. Oh, uh, okay. So this was on Tuesday. This happened on Tuesday night. Okay, all right, fine. How about here? Okay, this was last week. This whoa, this was Monday. Right. So literally, this is 28. Literally, this just happened Thursday night, yesterday. So
Yeah.
this place is, it's not like these things happened months ago or years ago or something. This is literally happening on a daily basis. So for that reason, I told him, I don't think that's gonna be that's not gonna be a yes for me. Thank you. So does that answer
I
those
see.
questions?
Yeah, that definitely does. Okay.
Okay. And then you mentioned so just following through, right? The wholesaler involved, I'm buying this property, go under contract. And then, like in my case, right, I just said, I looked at the property, I'm going to be the buyer, I get it under contract. But then I realized, I don't, for whatever reason, it's a single property in a particular location, like almost happened with this one. It's in St. Louis. I don't have any other properties yet in St. Louis. And I'm like, if somebody comes along, they want to buy this from me, I'll just go ahead and wholesale it to them. It's a really good deal. And then I kept looking. I was like, oh, okay, this is a really, really good deal. So I think I'm going to keep it. But if I was going to wholesale it, then that's the situation. Now, what does happen is the wholesaler then assigns the contract to the seller. Uh, I keep saying that. They assign the contract to the buyer, the end buyer, as we call it sometimes. Okay, not a retail buyer. A retail buyer tends to be just someone who's about to move in. They're the ones who are buying this property, and they're going to live there, etc. But if it's an investor, presumably it's just another buyer. So they will assign the contract to that buyer, um, and then what happens is the contract goes to the buyer. Buyer then goes to title. This way, buyer then goes to title. And now it's between the buyer and the title and the contract. They deal with the contract, and that contract obviously is between the buyer as well. I keep saying it, the seller. Right? So now the wholesaler is not really involved, except that they are going to be noted by the title. Title company is going to know, okay, cool, you're the wholesaler, I understand. They're going to get the details. The buyer is going to work with title, generally speaking, and the title is going to work with the seller and deal with the contract. Okay? And other things,
Right.
all the other closing costs and all of that stuff. Now, finally, what happens is and I should call this a title company really, because I want to keep the title itself separate. Right now, there is no title involved. The title company is the one involved, and then they will, do a title search and all of that stuff. Finally, this property sells, and like in the case of a subject to, the title company is going to deal with the title, and what typically happens at this point is, let's go ahead and pull this up as well. Typically happens at this point is the title company is going to move the seller out of the picture. Seller is going to get cash, presumably up front, and the title company is going to usually hold on to title. Now they are going to hold on to title on behalf until this is fully sold. They are going to hold on to title on behalf of either the seller or the buyer.
Okay.
On behalf of the seller or the buyer. Which one depends on what's stated in the contract. Okay? And all that does is it's basically in escrow until escrow says, hey, did you finish paying it off yet? Nope. Did you finish paying it off yet? Nope. Did you finish? And they keep checking, and okay, at this point you've finished paying it off, and maybe they're not checking, but the buyer is like, hey, I paid everything I needed to pay to buy this property. Can you make sure that the title now is fully transferred to me? At that point, the title, once the buyer fully pays everything off, then the title goes to the buyer. So at this point, title goes to the buyer thanks to the title company once it's fully paid off. Okay? Now, what happens in between here is the title company is going to look at the contract, and based on the contract, they're going to accept cash. We're going to accept cash from the buyer. And then they're going to give cash out to the seller and to the wholesaler. So I guess I'm going to put cash on this side. Show me the money. Okay, so that's what they're going to do at this point. Is pull this off. Buyer, wholesale. You go. So that's part of the process. That's going to happen at closing. So title company on behalf of seller, title company. So right between here. They're going to deal with the title. They're going to deal with the seller. They're going to deal with all of that stuff. They're going to do I'm not sure what this is about. I'm sorry, dude. I am sorry. I got somebody who is crying to me about other investors who don't buy their deals. Sorry, I really am.
Oh man.
I laugh because
Okay.
it's a running joke that this person gets a lot of properties on the contract, and they have a lot of a lot of buyers that they talk to, and buyers keep falling through, unfortunately.
Oh man, that seems rough.
Yeah, definitely a rough deal. Okay, so we talked about the spot prime. Did that. All right, other questions? We good?
Yeah, I think thank you for kind of going through that deep dive. Yeah, I just wanted to understand the process of like what happens, like even after the wholesaler, he sells it off to the seller, the contract, and then like what happens between the seller and the buyer, and you kind of described it's held with the title company, and now with sub two or like mortgage takeovers, that is placed in a trust, right? And there's a contract for that between the seller and buyer.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. There's a contract at that point between the seller and the buyer, but the title company is totally involved in that, making sure that everything is legit and legal and all of that stuff as well. At least a good title company. A good title company. I've seen some shady title companies, man. And there's some that now that I know, now that I've seen what they do, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna. I understand you might want to use your title company. You've known this person for 100 years. I don't care. I'm using a title company that I know and trust. I'm the one buying. I'm bringing in the money. I'm using my title company. I'm going to be firm on that going
Okay.
forward. The last property we bought, just it was me and a bunch of other people got together and bought a property, pretty much using the shared equity plan. And I'll talk about that actually. The wholesaler, the person who bought the deal, they took equity instead of cash. So
Okay.
yeah, so they were able to buy a property with no money, no money. Everybody else is paying money. Um, but yeah, on that last deal we bought about a month ago, the the seller we bought it from did some stuff that they weren't supposed to do, and the title company that they used, which is one they insisted on using, allowed them to do the thing that they shouldn't have been doing. And so yeah, people are going to court over it right now. Not can't trust other people, man. Unfortunately.
So was the deal finalized, and then you guys kind of backed out, or what
Oh
ended
no,
up
we didn't.
happening?
We didn't back out. We own the property now. It's just monies
Uh-huh.
that we were supposed to get. The I wonder. Well, I, yeah, it's in litigation. It's in litigation. I will just say, but yeah, they this person like yeah they collected monies when they were no longer the buyer. They were no longer in ownership of the property. So something is just not good. So here's
I
a
see.
question I have. You are oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I was looking at this. I'm like, you're trying to sell a property. You put it on market, and you're going to take a picture with somebody with a hood on the somebody with a hoodie on the doorstep, breaking into the house. But it's not someone with a hoodie. It's a cat. It's a black cat. Now, still same thing. Why are you going to take a picture with the black cat on there? Is it does this cat own this house? Are we buying this like the owners are going to move out? We're going to buy this property and we're going to be stuck with the cat. Is that what's going on here?
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder why. I guess some people just don't care. So if I do lock up a contract and I want to put it up somewhere, like here, for example,
Yep.
would I just have the seller or the realtor send me better pictures if I wanted?
Yeah, I mean that's one way you can do it. This particular property, I don't know. I don't know that you can do anything with this property, right? Um, so wait, can I look at this picture and can I show a grid quickly, please? Thank you. I don't want to see that. Right. So this property, you get this under contract. Presumably, someone lives here right now.
Right.
Okay. So they had to have that person. This person's already living there. They're renting the place. It looks like that now. You can't really take down these things covering the window and stuff like that to take your pictures. You have to leave it as is. So I don't know that there's any better thing you can do. You just have to be, the buyer just has to be wise enough to understand what they're looking at. And to me, I'm like, okay, I understand the blinds that they have. Um, this place has a lot of light, and the blinds are not adequate for keeping all the sun out. So when I buy this property, if I bought this property, I'd basically put up different blinds that allows them to actually, like darken the room, for example, in the middle of the day. Um, so that's generally speaking, like when you are the buyer, you just have to, be smart enough to know what you're going to do with the property. But I appreciate seeing the property as is, you know, that's fine. So this just tells me, yeah, there's someone in there. Um, there are renters in there now. And so my question to them is, hey, I saw the property. It looks good. I think it looks good. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to do an inspection, of course. But obviously, it looks like it's got a tenant in there. Are they month to month? Are they going to be in there? Are they on a long-term
Long-term.
contract, so they're going to stay? I mean, what's the deal? So that's a compensation piece. This is a 2-1 in Birmingham, Alabama. This looks like potentially a good deal. Potentially a good deal. Interest rate of 5%. Why is this an interest rate of 5%? What kind of deal is this? It's a seller 5 and they want 5%. Wait. Okay, I'm getting kind of confused here. It says payment of 0. A fixed monthly payment to the seller. I'm paying them nothing. So what am I accumulating a 5% interest rate every month? So basically the price, whatever the price is, it's just going to go up and up and up. So instead of purchasing it for 75, if I'm not paying them anything, okay, down here it does say a month. See, that's kind of weird the way that this is set up. All right, but if I'm to buy this property, seller 5, let's take a look. Looks like it's in the middle of the city, not too far from everything. That works. And then this is it's a 2-1. This says $1,000. I don't know if that's true, but all right, sounds good. I'm in. Okay, there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, on Buy Box Live, we have potentially found another property to buy. Potentially found another property to buy. That's all delayed. Whatever. All right, I'm going to close that because that's taking up too much memory. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, since you said you're a buyer or an investor, and are there any specific things that you look for so I can potentially find deals and bring them to you directly, and we can JV, or I don't know, if you're buying it for yourself, I can sell it to you, or if you want a JV, whatever works. Because again, I haven't really done a deal yet, and I really wanted to do a deal. And I don't care about the signing fee too much. I just want to, break the ice and get something under contract and sold.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, I will tell you that I appreciate you asking. A lot of people don't realize that when you go into wholesaling, I've seen it done all kinds of ways. The way that always seems to fail is someone finds a property, they get it under contract, and then they go looking for a buyer and hoping that somehow they've done enough for a buyer to buy this property. And you saw me do it right in the Wholesale Atlas. I did the stuff and I made it look green. Okay, all this is green. Yeah, cool. But you still can't compel a buyer to buy this. You have no idea why a buyer would buy it. But if you have a buyer already in hand, and now you ask them exactly what you just asked me, well, what are you looking for, right? That's basically asking what my buy box is. Yeah, I can tell you what my buy box is, and then we can go and buy this property, whatever we can get. So here is my buy box. I'm going to add that to my dictionary, and that to my dictionary, and that to my dictionary. All right, so here's my buy box. If you can find me, and the reason for this, I'll start off here, is if I was to buy a $100,000 property, or the entry cost was $100,000. In fact, I was talking about this earlier today with somebody on a different live. If I buy a property for $100,000 down, in fact, this is what the situation was. They had a $500K property. They said it was sellify. The agent was really happy to tell me that, oh yeah, it's sellify. We only need 25% down, and what was it? He told me 25. The Wholesaler told me they said 20, but either way, 20 to 25% down. And 9.9%, 9.9% interest for 30 years. And he was all giddy to tell me about this. And I'm like, first of all, you must have profiled me because you told this other guy 20%, and you're telling me 25%. Okay? But all good, no worries. That guy is not buying, I'm the one buying. So, but he said 25%. I say 500K. I'm sure it was over 500K, but he wanted 25% down, or the seller wanted 25% down potentially, and almost 10% interest for 30 years. I'm like, dude, I don't know who you're talking to. You want me to buy this property by putting $100,000 down, and he's like, oh yeah, if you went to a DS, if you try to go through a lender and try to get a DSC loan, they'd want 20%. Okay, cool. So if they'd want 20%, he's telling me their interest rate would be a whole lot more. Really? Not in my experience, but whatever. But anyway, my point here is I buy this one property for 100K, something happens, and the people that were renting it completely wreck the property and leave. Okay, now I'm stuck with a property that nobody can live in, and I have months of rehab, and I have costs to pay for this rehab, and it's a single property for 100K, right? Not very sensible, in my opinion. I can't tell other people what to do, but to me, that doesn't sound like a good deal. Now, you take the same scenario, and you get me there are 5 properties, combined, each of them is 100K. So it's just 5 properties times 100K each. Also doing Sellify, not going to give me some crazy 20%, 25% stuff down, right? We'll just do 10% down. Interest rate has to be 0. If it's not 0, you're wasting my time and you're wasting your time talking to me about it because I'm not interested. And this could be for 30 years amortization. But I expect that hopefully within 8 years or so, the property has appreciated to the point where I can, either sell it or do something else with it. I don't deal with lenders, so I'm not going to refinance it. I'm not going to finance it at all. I'm just probably either going to keep it as is and just pay them off whatever's left, or I will sell it and pay them out from there. Okay, but now I've got 5 properties, 10K each. Guess what? That is the same. Well, that was what? That's 50K. So I'm going to say 10 properties at 100K. No, I do want that to be 5 because I had 500K. All right, fine, 20K each. 20K each, that's still 20% down. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll do that. 5 properties, 100K. They still want 20% down. I do have 0% interest, 8-year balloon. Same scenario. I've got renters who completely destroy one of the properties. I still have 4 properties with money coming in. A flood destroys another property. I still have 3 properties, right? And again, I would have paid the same 100,000, but now I have 5 properties for that. Okay, so it's all about diversification. That is the reason why I'm not paying 100K or any of the businesses that I am associated with, where I make those decisions, for the owners. I'm not bringing them anything and have them pay 100K on a single property. So therefore, my buy box is if I can get a property for less than 10K, and I'll tell you why that is. If I get it for less than 10K, I actually like to make sure that I renovate the property, somewhere around 5K. Sometimes it ends up being more than that for renovations. So that gets me back up to my 20K total entry. Also pay closing costs, all that stuff. But interest rate also needs to be 0% if it's a Sellify. If it's a property that they already have a mortgage on or something like that, then either way, I shouldn't have to be paying more than 10,000 PITI. If it's 1,000 per month PITI, which includes principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. If I'm paying more than that, if I'm paying 20K, for example, then I don't really have much room to, to make any money at all, right? A lot of times it's really hard to get one renter to, to pay you 25K if I'm already paying, I should say 25K, to 2,500 if I'm already paying 2,000. Okay, so yeah, my PITI really needs to be, and these are all targets, right? If it's a little bit over 1K, I might think about it. Um, if the down payment is a little over, 10K, I might think about it. No guarantees, but if the down payment is 5K, wow, I'm really interested. And of course, not in a war zone. Like the last property I saw, I think my total cost to buy this property outright was going to be, it was going to be less than 10,000. Um, I should say to buy this property, the entry was definitely less than 10. I think it was like 8, something like that. Um, but it was in a war zone. It's like no wonder the price was so low. I no, sorry, can't. Thought about it. I thought about it, but yeah, Warzone is out of my buy box. So there you have it. Now, the other thing I do here is I do point out where do we find these deals? Because this is sometimes another question that comes up. If this is my buy box, how is it possible for me to do that? This is really a good question. You didn't ask it, but it's all good. I'll tell you why. My buy box. Here's why. Show me buy box, ladies and gentlemen. Um, let me see 1 second. Okay, so what is this? Generally speaking, the lower part of the U.S. Reason for that is anything like Washington D.C. Forget about it. The cost of just $1 million properties. Same thing in Miami. Same thing in Los Angeles. Same thing in Boston. These properties are just very, very expensive. Um, and Texas can be very expensive. The taxes right now in Texas are very, very high. Hopefully they go down a little bit in the future, but I am buying properties in Texas if we can find really good deals. Louisiana I like because the taxes situation there, insurance as well, tends to be lower. And then middle of Florida, lower part of Georgia, I'll consider. Parts of Alabama, I'll consider. And as far north as Missouri, not Kansas City, I guess I might consider Kansas City, but any place else in the U.S., the prices, the deal just has to make sense. The numbers have to make sense, and of course, not a war zone.
Okay. So is it safe to say that based on what you mentioned in your buy box that your max price would be around 100 to max maybe 110K?
Those numbers tend to work, but no, the property, like if it's a sell of five, then it could be a $500,000 property, but they just have to be willing to take, you know, like 5% or whatever. They need to be able to accept less than 20K. If it's a property that doesn't need any renovations at all, it's an awesome property. Um, they fixed it and now they're trying to flip it. They're trying to sell it after fixing it, right? It's totally fixed. Everything is great with this property. They did a great job. Okay, cool. They want 500,000. It's in Texas somewhere, which means the taxes are going to be kind of high, maybe. But if my PITI isn't too outrageous, and they can accept 15K down, 10K down on a sellify, yeah, sure, why not? It doesn't have to be a 100K property, um,
Right.
you know. But these are the numbers. Like literally here, I didn't mention the total cost of the property. No, what I mentioned are 10K down. Down payment is important, um, and of course, and then the PITI also very important, right? If there's renovations, not too much. Now, the other thing I didn't mention here is if the property is, let's see, I mentioned down payment. Now, they might want, let's say they want, I've got to find a way to say this. Okay, it's a 500K property. They want 500K, but it's been on market for a year. because they really, really want cash, and it's been on market for a year, and nobody wants to give them 500K. I might potentially give them 500K if there's a chance that in 8 years the property is worth more than 500K. Nobody wants to give them 500K, but I might give them 500K if in 8 years that property, because I'm paying them over time anyway, if in 8 years that property is worth 500K or hopefully more than that. Okay. Um, so whereas other
Right.
people will say, yeah, sure, you got this property, it's been on market forever. I'll give you 400K. I'll give you 450. And like, nope, I want 500K. The other thing they'll say is I want cash. That's why it's also been on market for that long. Nobody wants to give them that much cash. But if they will accept a creative deal, yeah, it's fine. I can give them that 500K over that time. So that's the other thing I'll add. Potentially. So the way I'll put that is I can potentially, I'll make a note of this as well. Pay 10% more than fair market value. And I think it's really 12%, so I'll make that 12%. I like to be different. So yeah, if it's the fair market value or ARV, we can do an inspection, we can do a whatever the word is. Can't come to me right now. But anyway, I've said a lot. I've said a lot. I have educated a ton on this buy box live instead of making calls, but all good. It's all about helping the community and helping others in this real estate field, for them to helping others to realize their dreams. What are your dreams? What do you want to do in this real estate world, Ali? He literally just went to mute.
Yeah, sorry, my internet seems to be cutting out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so that all makes sense. I took a screenshot of your buy box. So, yeah, I mean, I pretty much really appreciate you kind of going through, all the breakdowns and details and everything. I'm going to try to, look in. So the current market that I was kind of looking in was Cleveland, Ohio, or just Ohio.
Okay. Why?
Just because there's a couple realtors that I've been talking to, and they were really, I guess, willing to, for older properties that have been sitting on the market for some time. A lot of the sellers were willing to do creative. So I really did like that, and I thought there was more opportunity there. So I just want to stick to one market, and that was kind of my thought process there. But
Okay.
I guess, yeah, and that's what I'm going to use your buy box and try to find something there, and then come to you and try to see if we can work something out, and how you like the property and all that.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long-term play. It's a long-term play, so I wouldn't necessarily expect, you to come back tomorrow and be like, "I found something." Maybe you do, but you give it a few weeks, and sure enough, I'm sure we'll find something. And if you find anything in particular that, what is this? You find something in particular that we can review, then
Yeah.
we'll go from there. We'll see, how does it look? What does the location look like? Does it really meet the buy box? Like the last person who told me, this is in your buy box. I was like, okay, cool. They want $50,000 down. Like, okay. I don't know. I don't know who told you that, but that's not my buy box.
Right, that makes sense. So once I come to you with a deal, or not a deal, but just a property, and we consider it to be a deal, would you prefer that I put it under contract, or how would you want to kind of go about that? I just want to understand like the logistics of it, because since I'm dealing with you directly, and you said you either buy properties or you either JV or whatever the case is. So just want to understand that process.
Yeah, it's a good question. I will tell you this that you getting it on the contract, how do I put this? I mean, a lot of times people getting a property on the contract before a buyer says, yeah, I want to buy this property doesn't really work too well because, now everybody's under the gun. That 10 days starts as soon as you get it under contract. And now, like
Right.
if I get busy, especially typically I have 4 Mondays every week. So you find a property, you get it on the contract Friday night. Yes, it's on the contract, and you come to me and like, hey, can we go forward? And you're trying to reach me on Saturday. Probably not going to happen. So Monday comes along, I look at this property, like, okay, cool, cool, looks good. Um, I'll get to it. I'll get to it, and then I never actually get to it until Friday. Well, all of a sudden, half of that time is gone. So it's not really the best idea in my experience. Not, and that's just an example with me, right? I've seen the same thing with other potential buyers where people
Right.
get a property on the contract. It's not exactly in the person's buy box. It doesn't fit exactly, and then they're trying to force everyone to hurry up and buy this property. Not really a way to do it, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
And that's what I was thinking is that like I wouldn't put it under contract. I would come talk to you about it first, and once you say kind of give me the green light,
Yeah.
that's what my question was. At that point, would you want me to put it under contract, or would you put it under contract, and like how would we kind of go on from there?
Yeah, I think in that case, the best scenario is I go ahead and put it on the contract using one of my LLCs. And, I will tell you that you have nothing to fear. Yeah, I've seen horror stories from other people. For me personally, that is not something that's going to be part of my legacy. This last property I was talking about in
Right.
St. Louis, the person who I got it, I saw it on the Atlas, and they were actually at the end of their contract. And when I called up the agent, they're like, "Yeah, we're not under contract." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, okay, got you." I went ahead and put it on the contract. Now I'm ready to buy the property. When this property finally closes, they're gonna get paid. I'm not about screwing anybody over a couple
Right.
$1,000s now, and then my reputation is completely sullied for the $1 million contracts potentially next year. I'm like, yeah, not worth it.
Yep. I totally agree. But yeah, no, I appreciate that, Clint. And I definitely, like I said, I'll get on it, get on the phone, and start calling some realtors and come to you with some properties. I'll try not to bombard you too much, but
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, just send me an address or something. I'll do some quick underwriting. Pretty much you see what I do here. Um,
yeah.
Decide if it makes sense, and if not, I'll let you know why it doesn't. And if so, then we'll see what we can do.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much, Clint. I really appreciate your time today, and yeah, we'll be in touch.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So right now, I am in the process of making a call, trying to understand the situation with this property because this looks really good. Oh wait, it's the end of the day. It is after 7 on a Friday night on the East Coast. This is why I don't
Hi,
make these calls.
thanks for calling. This is Margie Beth. Can't get your call right now. I will call you back. Excited to talk with you. Leave me a text if you want a quicker response. Most definitely. Thanks, and have a fantastic day.
Hey, Margie, this is Clinton. I'm calling you. I'm a buyer looking at a property right now at 416 12th Street Southwest in Birmingham, Alabama. It looks like an awesome property. It says, hey, tenant occupied, investment opportunity. Man, you're really excited about it. And I'm like, I'm really excited too. But it's been on market for quite a while. And I'm like, okay, something's missing here. Something's wrong. I'm a little bit worried about buying this property. So if you could give me a call, I realize that it's the middle, it's like Friday night right now. So my apologies for calling late. I just saw this. I was like, man, I gotta add it to my list to make some calls. So my apologies there. But again, reach out to me whenever you do have time. Whenever you get back to making calls, get back to work. All good. Hopefully you're having a great Friday evening. Okay. Talk soon. Take care. Quentin. Bye. Oh yeah, buyboxlive.com as well. That's where I do my stuff. People learn apparently. All right, talk soon. Bye. Oh, almost forgot that. I want to let people know. Hey, don't be afraid. People on the internet will know that I'm talking to you. So just like you have your phone number on and name on the internet. KW. KW. What is KW? Talked to a realtor very recently. Keller Williams, that's what that is. Okay. These companies are just huge. Um, yeah, a realtor I was talking to earlier had that. I was like, hey, what's KW? That's what it is. Okay, all good. All right, so Ollie is good. What else? What else is new? Let's go to the west coast, far west coast, where people are still active. It is not Friday night yet. Hopefully, they haven't started the party yet. What's up, my guy? Yep. So Ali, the other thing I will say, I see you thanking me and everything. Feel free to go to buyboxlive.com and you can go and check out some of the previous lives. They have a lot more information on there as well. There's a lot more info. So feel free to do that. Okay, let's take a look at some of these properties. Price cut. Take a look at this one. What is the time? Oceanside large off-grid vacant lot. It is off-grid. How far off-grid? All usable land with full ocean views. I like what I'm seeing here. I do like what I'm seeing here. Wow. Looks like it's currently owned by natives. This is way off-grid though. Where is this? Almost had a rainbow shot in here. Would be nice. Okay, let me go and take a closer look. Yep, that's way on the other side of the island. Way off grid. But at least the road is there. Oh, wow. That is far off grid. This is not going to work. That is too far. That is, yeah. I'm glad they said off grid, man, but that is way off grid. That is way off grid. Okay, I don't think that's going to work for me. Has to be closer. Has to be closer. Has to be closer. That's too far. Okay, got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to reimagine our location. This is what happens, right? Live and learn. Oops. Let's go and make a drawing. Probably nothing up in the mountains. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to go, let's say, right about here. I'm going to start right about there. Come on, along there. If it's out in the ocean, not too far in the ocean, if you've got a little habitat out in the ocean, hopefully it's not too far off in the ocean. Down here, I think we're getting kind of far off, so I'm going to have to redraw this. Let's do it again. Yeah, can't be that far out. Even that is too far out down here in Mount Cana. So yeah, I'm gonna literally do it this way. Let's get ready to rumble. Right about there. Come around here. Go all the way over there. This is such an awesome feature. I really appreciate good engineering. And since I have the ability, I'm going to go the extra mile of making sure I am not up in the mountains, just in case. Come around here. Will it cross? Will it cross? Will it cross? No, it won't cross. We're having some fun, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some fun. Old school style. What is this? What did I just draw? An alien. It's an alien with its tail all wrapped up. It's an alien. Some kind of alien. It's a sea creature. Some kind of sea creature. Which is fitting. It's a shell. It is a shell on Maui. Love it. Alright, so I'm going to apply that. Unfortunately, this little tiny speck in here, something's going to be missed, but it's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to save this because I like what I'm looking at. This is for sale. This is land. I'm going to save this in my stream side. This is going to be for real estate. 54 homes for sale. Interesting. Down, 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 down. Da, da, da. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. Yep, perfect. So you get to see what I do. Mountain views. Let's take a look at this one. This is in my face. So let's take a look. Looks like, what are they doing? Is this land available? It's very close to everything. Not very much square footage. Okay, okay. Let's go back to the listing. And I was in here earlier. Listing provided by this location. This is a phone. Oh, ooh, ooh. Let's go back. Yeah, let's go back to my main location. Go up here. My box. There we have it. Go to this one. Now, it would be very messed up if somebody is watching my live and they call up these people and be like, "Hey, you know you're on live. It's okay," because I tell people, it's okay. Don't take his call. He's about to call you right now. This was listed 4 days ago.
Hello, it is.
Hello, my name is Clinton. Can you hear me okay? Hello? Okay, okay, awesome. I am calling about a property that's listed at 332 Arlike. How do you spell that? How do you say that? Street?
Yeah, it's Aulike.
Yeah, okay, perfect. Arlike. So this property was just listed. Uh, I'm curious, I guess, are you already getting a bunch of calls and you're not willing to change the price, or is it possible I can get a good deal on this price, on this property, you think?
Oh, yeah, you just put in your offer in.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I guess I don't have anything else here. I know that, obviously properties are selling relatively quickly, so I was just wondering, curious if I had any chance at all. I can go ahead and put in an offer, um, but yeah, I wasn't sure. Do you have anything that I should know about this property before I put in an offer? It looks like the location is okay. Um, this land is fully. It doesn't look like it's like it's bare land or anything like that. It looks like it's build ready. Is that would that be the case? You think?
Yeah, it used to have like a three-bedroom, full bath in there, but because of the fire. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But we don't
Yeah,
get
it
that
was
though. This is only the land though, right? We don't get the buildings or anything.
Oh, no, just the lot.
Just the lot.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, awesome. Well, all right, sounds good. Thank you. I'm not really sure there's much I can do other than submit. It does say unimproved land, so that's why I was wondering. The land is unimproved, but at least it does have electricity available, is what it looks like, and water.
Yeah. I mean, where did you see I improved land? On the property records or?
No, I'm looking at it on Zillow, and one of the things I mean I can send you a screenshot, but it does say unimproved, so got me a little bit confused. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, there's a water and a trail built in there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I really like the views. I like this property. Looks good. All right, cool. Well, I will save this. I don't know that we can do anything with it right now, but at least thank you for taking my call, and good talking with you.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.
Mahalo.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Not much I can do with this property. I guess the big problem here is it was listed 4 days ago, and right now he's probably fielding a lot of calls from a lot of potentials. And yeah, if somebody else buys this, it's okay. I'm not going to be in distress. The property, even the assessed value for the tax is relatively high, but thankfully the tax amount is not too high. But they assessed it at 531. Obviously, they've got it listed for more, but that always happens, right? You list it for more than what the state says it's worth. Unimproved land was kind of weird, but not much space, and definitely not much room for negotiation. So that's going to be very challenging. All right, well, there you go. Wasn't necessarily a wasted call. I learned a new word. Aulike. I was correct. I was pretty close. I said aulike, but it's aulike. Aulike. Haha. Before you know it, I will be speaking Hawaiian, ladies and gentlemen, on BuyBox Live. Let's go ahead and. Is there a way to sort? Yeah, I can sort this. Show me. No. Newest. There we go. And I've got 54 on this list. And yep, sure enough, that is the newest property that I could have called. Sure enough, I called it. All right, this one has a very small lot, and they're asking for over $1 million. $1.4 million for this tiny little lot. Wow. Wow. At least this one is $500,000. Okay. All right. Well, let's go to some of the ones that are back here on, just go at the bottom of page 1. Listed, this has been a long time listed, quarter. And this one up here, where is this one? Show me where is at the airport there, little tiny airport. Okay, I don't know what that was about, but all good. Okay, so this is listed right here, part of the road. Wait, what? What did I miss? I thought, let me go back to this search because there's no way. Okay. Yeah, 0.5 acres, half an acre, and they also want over $1 million. No wonder it's been listed for so long. 0.5 acre. Here, see this one here, over 1.5. Where are you located? 1.5 acres, and they want $1 million. I mean, you're getting closer to sense, closer to sensibility. Mature avocado trees, which means you probably can't do anything with the trees. What are you going to do with these trees? Oh, okay, I get it. You could potentially put a little property in between there somewhere. Makawayo. Okay, Makawayo. Okay. This one is located at Wailuku. Seize your opportunity. Seize the day, ladies and gentlemen. 14 people have saved this property. It's been listed for a long time. Slightly cooler temperatures. Underground utilities. No, interesting. Very interesting. Location not too bad. Size is almost 10, so I guess that's one, and not one, but probably 0.3, something like that. Not 0.3, 0.7, something like that. Because I think this needs to get to about 1,400 square feet. Somewhere around there. You know what? Let's find out. Let us find out. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are on BuyBox Live, and we are pulling out our trusty AI tool. We're going to put that on temp because I don't need this for too long. Tell me, in acres, I could actually use a search engine for this. How close was I? Okay, math. Ooh, I was way off. I did say 0.3, but I was mistaken. I meant to say in that case point 0.7. So I'm not gonna take credit for saying 0.3 initially because that's not really what I meant. Okay. So we got to get to somewhere close to 50,000 square feet, right, to make 1 acre. 45, 45K. 1 acre, 45K square feet. So this is only 0.2 acres. 0.2 acres, they want about $500,000. And like I said, we can go ahead and check this in our trusty search engine. Which one? DuckDuckGo, ladies and gentlemen. Paste. Told me. DuckDuckGo. There you have it. Could have just used that as well. Looks like it was faster than ChatGPT and less expensive probably, but all good. All right, all right. Let's see. So this is 0.2 acres. Property location is not too bad. Want a lot of money. These just are very expensive though. I like that I can actually call and talk to someone, but 0.3 acres. This was 0.2. This is 0.3. This is 0.5 and it's over a million. This is 2 and it's less than that. 2 acres. 2 million. Build a cottage. Parcel. Privacy, convenience. Agriculturally zoned. Can't do much with it because it's agriculturally zoned. That's why. Private water system. Yep, we can build a cottage, can't do much more. So that's why the price is low. And it's been on the market for a long time. Can't really do much with it. It has potential. It has potential, but right now can't do too much. This one, I wonder, this is probably the same. Probably agriculturally zoned. Price is relatively low. Fully fenced property. Yep. Upcountry life. Yep. High elevation. Most desirable. Why? Is it because it's cold? Multiple home sites. Bi-coastal ocean views. Blank canvas. Agricultural living. It's a challenge, man. That's why. Agricultural living. Unobstructed views. So yeah, if it's not agricultural land, then it's over $1 million. If it is agricultural land, then it's under $1 million. That's pretty much it. Price was cut. Building permits. Okay, that's good, but today to scheduling private showing. To the town. 0.3 acres provides sense of privacy, lush, mature trees, building permits. On market for a long time. 17 pictures. Show me what I need to see. Is this going to be the right one? I don't see much here. I don't see too much here, but let's try it. Ala Olu Place. Hello, good day. I am calling about 2599 Ala Olu Place, Unit C, in Haiku. If you can give me a call back at your convenience, I'd love to talk about this property and potentially purchasing it. Thank you so much and have a great day. Mahalo. Not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. Okay, so I will go ahead and copy this. And I will come over here and I will make the call. Nope, not make the call, but send the message. Because I do like this particular property. And this needs to go here. So all good, ladies and gentlemen. It's a lonely day here at Box Live, but guess what? I'm doing what I need to do anyway. For some people, it is party time, but for me, it might as well be interesting. Okay, very nice. Yeah, I might as well be trying to find a property to buy. Okay, and I want to come back over here. Because, wait, no, not there. I don't need it to go there. I can go here and do it. Okay, I called it out such and such. Let's see. Nope, not the one. This is the one. So I'm going to come here. Ta-da. Okay. Call it other property, but have to consider such and such. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Okay. Wondering what kind of mm, this one G agriculture is okay. Do we have it? There you have it. And a call made, love message sent. Thank you. Let's make a deal. Let's purchase a property, potentially build. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay. Um, Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I think this one I'm going to also wait till I bookmark it run. Know what this is. Okay, we're gonna save this to is bump bump. Okay, buy box closed. Notes, my buy box check. Potentially paid more than such and such. Not no zone. So I'm gonna make this note. To my list. Fair market value. Yeah, perfect. Totally done. 5K. 75, 20% down. Okay, this is okay. Okay. Oops. That's what I mean. That I make 20K per. Okay. Crazy 25K census. Just like 10% I'm talking about. Interest only. Sometimes it's 10% interest, sometimes it's interest only. Either one. Are you kidding me? Makes no sense. Who is that for? Yo, gentlemen. Who is that for? Who would that be for? Tell me. Somebody tell me. Who in the right mind would do that? Alright, cool. So this I don't need to save. I mean, I think I don't know, I guess I'll save it. See what I have to put up with. Decisions. Yes, I want to open quick. Yep, go all the way down. Okay, I've got this stuff. Done. Close, come back. Alright, what do we have here, ladies and gentlemen? A blank slate. Blank slate. So I have to do some other stuff. Alright, I like this property. I think I called about it and I saved it. So it got back to me. Very curious about this property. Interested in investments, then hey, might potentially be an investment. Okay. Wait, what just happened? Hello, this is Clinton. Yes, I did. How are you doing today? Yeah, it's fine. Thank you for letting me know. It's a new phone number, but it's all good. No problem at all. Yeah, I am a buyer. I buy properties right now. I don't have a portfolio in anywhere in Hawaii as yet, but I'm looking at properties now, and I'm looking to buy properties, and I see this one's been on market for a while, and I was really curious um, about what it's zoned for, because based on the price, it almost seems like it's agricultural, which I wouldn't really be able to do too much with. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But it's a really unique opportunity for somebody to get into the market.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It might be the sensible way to get in because all the other properties are just so expensive.
Yeah, I'm actually really surprised that the unit hasn't sold yet due to the price. We just reduced the price to that 349.
Yeah.
And we did kind of start out a little bit high, but even with our higher price point when we're at, I think, 425, it's still one of the best on the market. And then even more so because you have a building permit.
Yeah.
You're not going to be sitting on vacant land for a year plus waiting to get a building permit, going through the cost of designing, etc.
Yeah. That's the challenge, and sometimes it's not necessarily the waiting. It's that you you never know what the answer is going to be. It's not just that you're waiting for them to sign off. It's like they get the choice to say yes or no at the end of the day, and you're sort of stuck if they say no.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, my reasoning for it being a value is that you're not carrying costs.
Yeah.
I don't know how familiar you are with Maui building permit, but this permit for an 840 square foot ADU has been over a year. So my client's been carrying, their cost of interest rates and whatnot for over a year just sitting on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I totally agree. That's definitely the thing I'm very very afraid of at this point. So I'm glad you let me know that this one isn't necessarily in that scenario.
You're only looking for homes as well?
I'm looking at homes as well. It's just it depends on the numbers, right? What makes sense. Like I mentioned, a similar property like this one, um, like I've seen, you know, anytime I see the cost this low, it's typically because it's zoned agricultural. That's the thing where I looked at that. I'm like, okay, well, of course that's why it's been on market. But to your point, this one is a little bit unique, and it's not that. You know.
Yeah, especially in Haiku, because most land in Haiku is agricultural,
Yeah.
so it's also unique in that sense. And the area where this property is located is very desirable as well. In the drier part of Haiku and walking distance to town, to Haiku town,
Yeah.
if you can walk to the restaurant and the gym and the classes and the post office in 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's an adorable little city. And it's a third of an acre.
Yeah.
It's a good sized property.
No problem. And it does have like road access. I know it seems like it's on the backside, but I so we can put an
Behind another lot, but it does.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, that's potentially a challenge.
The driveway is actually a shared driveway. Yes, the driveway is a shared driveway with Unit B.
Okay.
Sold recently for 350, and it's a little bit smaller land. I actually think Unit C, the one that's still for sale, is the better of the two. It backs up to a totally private way. You don't have somebody driving over your land as a driveway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a safe spot. Are you on Maui right now?
No, no, no. I'm on the other side of the world. I'm an investor, just generally speaking, so I look for good properties to purchase. And like right now, I'm closing on a property in St. Louis, Missouri next week. I just closed on one um, in San Antonio last week. Well, not last week, last month. So I'm buying about a property a month. At some point, I'm going to have a property in every single state. I just know it, which I was trying to avoid, but it's look, I'm finding these deals pretty much everywhere. So you buy the property, put a building on there, and find a good spot for renters to have. And luckily, if they pay, then I can pay whatever the bills are that I have, and still have a good property coming in. So that's how I do my investing anyway.
So this is a great opportunity for someone who's willing to build a home very comparable to what this would be. If it's exactly the same size, but it did have a garage, same size land, same size house, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. This sold for 1.1 million.
Yeah. Wow.
Like if somebody wanted to turn it around, buy the land for 349 or around there, build the house for, I don't know, 400 a foot, or for 800 a foot, you're into it for, what's the math, under 850. You can't buy a house like that for 850 or not.
Yeah, I know. I know. I've been looking. I've been looking. Um,
To me, it's the best opportunity available on Maui.
yeah. Now, here's a question. How long do you think, like, is there like space, and the availability of labor to go ahead and build? You think it would take me like a year to build, or more?
It's gonna depend on who the builder is.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a builder, who's looking at it, and he told me that if you prioritize that, you can build it in 4 months.
Okay.
But that's getting the guys there. The guys are all very busy, behind and burned down, so everybody's working a lot.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of getting the right builder lined up
Yeah. Figured.
and getting on their schedule.
Yep. Anyway, see, these are the things that stress me out. I don't have too many stresses, but when I start having to think about, do I buy this property or another one, now I have to figure out where my money is going to go. So let's figure that out. Okay, but yeah, this is super.
Especially if you're on the other side of the road.
Yeah. Trust me,
It's a
it's
little more difficult.
I live 400 feet from the water right now. Very similar kind of scenario. I live on an island as well, so I tend to literally. I looked at Hawaii. I'm like, okay, where am I gonna buy my property in Hawaii? And I skipped the Big Island. I'm like, okay, let's take a look at Maui. So skipped Honolulu, all of that stuff. I'm like
They
looking
say Maui's no
at. What does that mean?
It means Maui is the best.
Okay,
It's like a slogan you see everywhere. Maui Naka or yeah.
Maui Naka Oe. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes, Maui is the best. I've been here since 1986. I didn't live anywhere else.
Yeah, man, I love that. You've been doing real estate since then, or you've done other things?
I've been in real estate for 18 years.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Nice. Well, what's fun is, at least you get to make new friends like me. So, um, I don't have any questions right now. I'm going to get back and the math I'm doing in my head says yes, but I try not to make those decisions like on the first call. So I've got to go back and think over it and then come back to you. Now you said, do you have other properties? I didn't look to see. Sometimes I will look and see what other properties an agent has, but I didn't do that. Do you have other properties? Maybe buildings?
I don't have any houses listed for sale right now. I have a number that are coming up. This type of situation that are CPRs coming in line. But I do have 3 other vacant lots for sale. I know 3 of those are in the area called Kula. Are you familiar with Kula?
I'm looking for it right now. I'm not familiar with it. Where would it be? Like in the middle? Okay, awesome. Well, here's a question. What kind of price are we talking about for those?
The one on Mount Elias was at 649, and then the one on Zero Holly Echo Highway, Unit A is at 785, and Unit B is at 799. And those two are, Unit B and B are both approximately an acre and a half, and they have septic units.
Okay.
They're cleaning out and, like, they still,
Yeah, the whole night, and obviously not in the flood zone. So
no, they're not going to.
yeah.
But there, you do have to still, even when you're looking in areas that you can still be in the flood zone, because sometimes there's like a gulch or something that runs through the property that's within the energy or flood zone,
Okay.
which does affect your insurance.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. All that water coming off the mountain. That makes sense. I've definitely seen it firsthand. Those can be very powerful. Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that works.
Yeah.
You,
You can call me with any other questions if you want to, I know you texted me your
email.
email address.
Yeah.
I'm happy to send you those other lists.
Yeah, please do. Please do. Getting off this call, I was thinking, okay, I'll go and take a closer look. But if you send them directly, that'd be awesome too. Thank you.
And your name is
Clinton,
Kelly?
Clinton, just like a former president who I got the pleasure of meeting one time.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Yeah, my mom was pretty happy. She saw a picture. She was like, "Is that?" The first thing my mom said, well, the first thing she did was she shared the picture with all her friends, and then when I spoke with her, she told me, "Oh, I sent the picture," and then she asked me, "It's not Photoshop, is it?" Like, my mom, like, oh man, where's the trust? Where's the trust, mom? Love you though.
That is so funny.
Yep,
That is really
yep. Back in my government services days, but all good. Long behind me.
freaking behind you. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Well, there's certain people you come across and you realize I never want to work with this person again. And when you're on a particular large contract, sometimes you have to work with them. And then the other problem is, although like my last contract was $3 million, but you're not making a lot of money because the government, makes sure that you only make a very small amount on top of that. But it's like, why am I doing all of this work for, I'm making less than if I was, working uh, in industry myself, So, yep. For that reason, I said, thank you, thank you. I love you all, but I'm out. But
Well, there's a lot more money to be made in real estate investment, that's for sure,
yeah, and the thing I like about it is
in the right place.
it's where the money ends up anyway. I say like if you make $1 million today in cash, what are you going to do with it? If you put it in the bank, you're going to be losing money. So you might as well invest it in real estate, with income coming in. So you're sort of back to that same spot. So.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think tangible things you can touch or really get to
Yeah. Yeah. You own the asset and rent it out and lend it. What was that?
I'm sending you an email right now with you can link to those listings. Um, yeah, and then with any other further questions you have on anything. And rental wise, that the property that you told me about went on all over you, once you build that house, homes that size are renting for a minimum of 3,000.
Yeah, I saw that. That was another thing that I was looking at. But thanks for pointing that out. I literally that was the number I have is 3,000. Yes. So So that makes sense. Okay. I will say, I know that we're talking about land. I'm looking at land now. Obviously, the goal there would just be to buy and build. But in the case of a property that's already built, um, I don't like the idea of spending $1 million+ cash on a single property. I'd much rather buy them creatively. Um, so, basically, if they don't have any mortgages or anything like that, then I can give them a down payment and then pay them a certain amount per month until I pay it off. Or let's say 5 years later, I pay the whole thing off, kind of thing. So
Like a seller finance type situation.
yeah, exactly. So it's just to me, I use my own money, so I don't use lenders or anything. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to put $1 million down on a single property. It just doesn't. I have to diversify somehow. So
I understand. I work with a lot of investors. I actually don't know any of them that really use their company. Most of my investor clients use hard money or some other creative way, but not even using their own money.
yeah, yeah. I've had very bad experiences with lenders. So I follow my mom's footsteps where the things she used to buy, she would just make sure she had enough cash and then just buy it all at once. And I sort of take from that. So I do the same pretty much.
No, that's also very
Well, for some people say it's not. The last lender I talked to, they were trying to get me to tell them what my credit score was, and I'm like, I have no credit score because I don't have any revolving debt, and they're like, well, you're crazy. You should go and get you should go and get a credit card at least. I said, okay, thank you, and then I've never actually spoken to him again. That was like 6 months ago. Like okay, it's all good. I know how to get really good credit. I've had it in the past. Yeah, it's definitely not for me. So, but it's all good. I get to live without, you know, I don't know what the correct term is. It's not mahalo. That's thank you, right? But there's definitely a Hawaiian term for living free without any worries. Um, and it's not Hakuna Matata. That's African. It's not that. Yeah, I don't think that's the one, but it's something similar to that. No worries at all. I get to be happy and free, and have a big smile on my face when I'm making a call like this. So I think all that works pretty well. So all right, cool. Well, thank you so much for the information. Yeah, I will take a look at that and do some numbers and talk to some of my buddies. Sometimes I buy especially if it's a larger amount that needs to be paid, then I might team up with some of my buddies and we'll buy together on one of my LLCs. We'll figure out which one. Oops, what just happened? Oops. But yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a great day.
Okay, you too. Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. You heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how much of that you heard, but it's all good. It was a good conversation, right? Long, long-ranging, long-winding conversation. We talked about some awesome stuff. Now, I would say that just summing up, yeah, I like this. We can definitely do some business. Um, Sometimes you're having a conversation with someone. I got to go back and find I got to go back and find the one from yesterday's live where I made a call. I tried to call and the person hung up on me. And then I tried to send a, I guess I was calling back, leaving a message, and in the middle of leaving the message, they blocked me. I'm pretty sure they blocked me. So I'm gonna find that and put it on social media. Sometimes that's what happens. And then other times you get an awesome call like this one, you make a new friend, and now you know what? When I buy a property in this area, I'm pretty sure I will be buying a property from her. Pretty sure that's what's gonna happen. Pretty sure. Let's go back to the list and take a look. That's an awesome call. And I like the property. I like the property location. The numbers, and like what you just said made sense. You can put an ADU on there of 840, just like she said. Like all of that stuff, it makes sense. It does. So guess what? A bunch of people have saved it. I'm also going to save it. Well, looks like 31 people. I'm going to save it as well. Numbers should go up. And then, mm, yeah, I think that works. Thank you so much, Helena. Hey, call. New friend. I make money. Helena makes money. That's the way it should be. Take care of each other. Yeah, look at that. It's already saved. Perfect. AI, you treat me so well. You're so kind. Welcome to the world of AI, ladies and gentlemen. In the future, AI will predict what I will do, what I will say, and it will do it for me. And hopefully not charge me too much like humans would. Not charge me like humans would. Okay, I've already saved this problem. Not only that, I'm going to add it to my to-do list. I have to do some numbers on this, and I have to take a look at purchasing this property. And of course, as we know on Buy Box Live, I look at a property, I want to buy it, I try very hard to buy it. If I can't, but I know somebody who will, then fine, I'll go ahead and wholesale it. So either way, but this property looks good, good location, all of that stuff. So all good. And then she should have emailed me some other stuff. I think I already got the email. Okay, cool. We've been going for a while today. Earlier on, we talked about, well, we did some training, we did some learnings and stuff like that. Not advice of any kind, just entertainment. But I have a new potential wholesaler buddy who hopefully, his name is Ali, hopefully he helps me find awesome deals and hopefully he gets them, he figures out like another one like this. This looks like it might be a good deal. But again, this is East Coast, it is nighttime, Friday night, it's gonna be very hard to reach them. But find some good deals and we can buy the property together, or if we do like a JV or something, then you know he gets some cash and maybe a lot of cash. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he does get some cash, and then I get more cash on exit as opposed to on entry. But it's all good. Take a look. Did I mention? No, I don't think I did. It's all good. Let's go and take a look. What else was I looking at? This is the Atlas mode I was taking a look at. Creatures of habit. Creatures of habit. When I started off at the Atlas, I went to lead gen and used search on the wholesale Atlas. I used search, lead gen, and now Atlas mode. And it almost seems like I won't get off of this call or I won't be done with my research until I've reviewed some properties at least. These are in Texas. This is a 3-3. This property in Texas, 2,400, almost 2,400 square feet. In Maui, man, this would be 1.2. It would be $1 million more expensive. But at the same time, those views are awesome. Okay, these two look pretty good. This hybrid is going to be challenging. A lot of equity. Okay, but this is 300K, and this is 1/3 of that. So over a 1/3. $100,000 they expect to get when this property sells. Hey, can I give you 20,000 and pay you the rest over time? Probably a hard sell because I have to pay them, and then I also have to pay the mortgage. And then hopefully I'm getting rent that covers all of that. So this one makes it very difficult. These hybrids can be very challenging. But this one, assuming it is Sellify, potentially not too bad. Okay. Even if my normal rent is a 3.2 in Texas, even if my normal rent is not too high, I might be able to make something out of this. Let's take a quick look. Might be able to make something out of this. It's going to depend on the taxes. Right now, the taxes are relatively low, and I wonder if this is it's because it's a homestead. Is it homestead? Very new build. Okay. New builds can be very challenging because they're typically owned by the builder. Those builders often are not interested in a really good creative deal. Hey, can I give you 10,000 down? Can I give you, in this case, 500 a month? Because if I do, and my rent is this much, I'm getting this much, then pretty good cash on cash. I'm buying it myself, so no assignment fee. But here's the question. Here's the question, ladies and gentlemen. I'm curious about this tax. This tax is going to be a call. They're going to tell me, yep, it's because you have to live here to get that kind of tax. It's a homestead. That's my guess. But I will make the note. I will save it and maybe give them a call this week. Brand new, and tax is suspect. Homestead. So this is just my experience, like I said, not financial advice, not any kind of advice. It's just, I see it, I think it, and it comes out my mouth. So now you get to see and hear what I'm thinking about when I'm looking at this particular property. I don't even need to look too deeply, right? Look at all the pictures. Ooh, looks pretty, very pretty, very pretty. I like the outside, I like the brick. Obviously, if you've been watching, you know it's brand new. Looks like everything here looks very well done. I'm kind of worried about these pillows here. I don't know. These pillows could be problematic. Like, hey, why didn't you just put that all the way up to the top? I guess they saved a little bit of money, which then begs the question, where else did you cut corners? So I'd be a little bit worried about that. But other than that, looks like they've got sod down. Just in my experience, sort of looks like sod done a certain way, and then the grass cut a certain way. I don't know that that's brand new grass. That was, yeah, that looks like sod to me. Nicely hidden, but I think it seems like sod. They would have had to. This was recently built. They would have had to. Oh wait, what was I looking at? What did I see square foot? I thought this was pretty big square foot, but this is actually smaller. This is only 1,300 square feet. Maybe that's why the taxes are kind of low. But that's kind of weird. Anyway, no worries. Talking about the sod. Shiny objects. Doesn't look too bad. Oh yeah, I guess the one thing I was going to say is, yeah, I know it's brand new, but guess what? There still could be things wrong with it. Because sometimes just something is off with it. That's why you typically have 12 months to find anything that's wrong with the property and go back to the builder and say, hey, you got to fix this. It's under warranty. You've got to fix this. You failed to make this a perfect property. So equity is really high. Equity is 100%. You either want equity at 100% or you want it at less than 10%. In my experience. Because the numbers are going to be very difficult and they're going to want a lot of something if that's not the case. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to drop my price. $1 million, probably high enough. And then zip codes, fine, whatever. You just give me whatever you want. And then my interest rate, if there is an interest rate, not going to worry too much about it. My on market, don't really want to do too close. I mean, I tried a properties newly on market, but I end up with the same challenges. Like it's brand new on market, they're not interested in my experience, not interested in creative offers right now. Maybe in the future. But we'll go there. Where else? Yeah, thousand days is probably too much. So I'm gonna make that 500 days. Over a year, but not over 2 years. And then let's go with year built. It's fine. I'm gonna reduce that. I don't really want to deal with brand new builds. I don't typically do that, but I don't want to deal with that. Interest rate, if there's an interest rate, $1 million sounds good. And then I'm going to filter out hybrids. Let's see if this actually works. It should, but I know they've been making some updates. Hopefully it's even better than last time. Okay, still over 10,000 properties, ladies and gentlemen. Over 10,000 properties. It's been on market for a while, 63 days, 65 days. Texas. Creative. Sellify. All these things in Lubbock, Texas. The prices are not too bad. The prices are definitely not too bad, and they're Sellify. We've been on market for a long time. Hey, you all, excuse me, but are you interested in Sellify? Are you interested in creative? Can I buy this property over time? Nope, not interested. I get it, but you've still been on market for a very long time. Don't care. Waiting for cash. Can be challenging, but it's okay. Anyway, so I think we've done it. And again, this is East Coast, so not really to be done during the day. Not really to be done at night, I should say. Should be really done during the day. But these are some good looking properties. No need to really save it because I need to really save it. Because I can just come back in here into the wholesale atlas and do it again. Do another search. Okay, what was this? Property listings, please take a look. Perfect. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to close up shop for the week. I'm going to call it a day, call it an evening, call it a night, call it the end. For today's live, made a call, made an awesome friend, learned something new. I love when my day ends up with me learning something new. Learn something new every day, as they say, and you will be wealthy in the future if you're learning something new every day. Close off your mind. Not what kind of advice would this be? Not any kind of advice. But in my experience, those who are not interested in learning anymore, the mind is just like, okay. It goes and it gets stuck, and then you miss out on opportunities, or you get stuck losing money and you stay in that state. So always be learning. ABL. Do something for C. Always be seeing new opportunities. How about that? Anyway, end of the day on Friday, the brain is like, why are you still talking? End the live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. And yeah, in the future, go ahead and subscribe. Hopefully, you learned something that you could potentially review in your own experience and see if it works the same way for you. Learn something new, just like me, learn something new. Not necessarily from what I said, but maybe from the things that I looked at. Um, and if not, then hopefully you learned something new just because you were on YouTube at the time and something else popped up and you clicked over and watched that video. And you got some advice from those people because you don't get advice from me. You get some entertainment from me. Pretty much it. So